Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Daniel Cairns and I'm the Head of Enrolments here at 4thRev. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you today to our webinar to unlock your marketing potential, transform your skills and land your dream job in collaboration with both 4thRev and LSE Online. A very interactive session we planned for you. So your participation, your attendance and participation is much valued, but this is about you. So we do encourage all of your questions to be put in the Q&A function at the bottom instead of the chat. The chat function we'll use for some resources that you'll find very, very helpful, and we'll get to the Q&A questions that you place in that function as quickly as we can as well. But today we're going to cover a number of most interesting topics. Firstly, understanding the trends shaping digital marketing in an ever-changing landscape, as we know, building the right skills for 2025 and ensuring they're industry relevant, overcoming barriers to career growth, navigating your career path in digital marketing, and how the LSE Digital Marketing Strategy and Analytics Career Accelerator can help you achieve your goals. We've got a number of questions for our panel as well that will no doubt you'll find most interesting, insightful, and helpful in whether you're looking to commence your career, change your career into digital marketing, or advance your existing career. Just before I get to the panel, I would ask though, in the chat function, not the Q&A, this is for statements, not questions, I guess. In the chat function, I would love to know, we would love to know if in one word you could say you're looking to commence your career, change your career, or advance your career. Feel free to introduce yourself and where you are as well, but if you can give us a snapshot of where you are on your career journey currently, and we'll tailor some of the content for your needs as well. So lots to get through, an exciting session. This session is recorded and you will receive a copy following, but it now gives me immense pleasure to welcome a fantastic panel to today's event. Welcome, Simon, Barry, and Shahana. I might get Simon, as he's on screen first, to do a quick introduction, if you can, Simon.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you for having me. So I'm Simon. Currently, I am a fractional Chief Marketing Officer. So that means I spend some of my time running marketing for a startup business, BizGen. But most of my time, or a lot of my time, is spent as the lead facilitator on the LSE's Digital Marketing Strategy and Analytics Career Accelerator. It's quite a mouthful, but there's a lot in it, which, as I was telling the team earlier, it's been a sort of really wonderful experience for me, as I hope it's been for the students. My background is actually in the agency and tech world. So before doing what I do now, I ran my own agency, Mission Drive, which I was very lucky to be able to wrap up and complete and finish in a neat bow at the end of last year. And before that, I worked for Sir Tim Berners-Lee at the Open Data Institute. So helping people around the world understand how data, analytics, AI, tech can actually further their careers, but also enhance their companies and the communities that they care about. My background is as a business psychologist, so that's what I studied, kind of how people do the things and why they do the things they do in this weird world of work that we spend most of our time in. And so that means I've also done some stuff around leadership development, worked at Harvard Business School for a stint, and was a consultant, but I'm okay now. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about my passion really, which is tech and marketing. So yeah, looking forward to this session.
Your passion shines through, Simon, and sorry, I missed most of that. Can you repeat that? No, I'm only joking. Thank you for such a comprehensive overview and introduction, and we're so lucky to have you as our learners, as a lead facilitator on the program. It gives me great pleasure now to also introduce Shahana. If you could introduce yourself as well, welcome.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Simon. So my name is Shahana. I am the enrollment advisor for the LSE Digital Marketing Career Accelerator. So I'll be the person you'll be speaking to on the phones or over Google Meets, introducing the program to you, going through the course structure, and just understanding your situation, really. And I can totally understand your guys' concerns, whether you're eligible for the program, if this is a good fit. But after this Q&A, if you book a time with me, we can have a better chat to find out. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So thank you.
Good on you,
Yeah.
Shahana, and I recommend everyone does that. I'll mention that a few times because you take such care and empathy in people's life decisions, such as their investment in themselves through education. Barry, last but not least, thank you and welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Daniel, and good to see everyone. Well, I can't see you, but you know what I mean. So I'm Barry. I've been in marketing leadership roles for nearly 30 years now, mainly in startups and scale-ups, internet-based companies. So I was on the founding team at Uswitch. I was there for 8 years. That was a huge success, and I'm very proud that that brand's still thriving today. I launched the dating site eHarmony into the UK market. I worked in 2 startups in Sao Paulo, and I was the CMO at the online learning platform FutureLearn. So that's some of the things that I've done. And these days, like Simon, I'm working as a fractional CMO and also as a marketing coach. And when I'm not doing that, playing the guitar, as you can see behind me.
We might ask you to break out into song later, and I'm surprised there weren't more love heart emojis when you mentioned about launching eHarmony. That would have been a perfect time for everyone to engage with an emoji there. Thank you, Simon, Barry, and Shahana. As everyone in the audience can now tell, we've got an amazing panel for their benefit. So let's engage with as many questions as you can in the Q&A as we go through, and we'll get to them shortly. I'd like to touch on the fact that it's a really interesting time for digital marketing, especially entering the field for some, and we're going to touch on some facets of commencing a career. We've got some advances that have mentioned what they're seeking to achieve, and some changes as well. There's some influential trends starting to shape the future skill set of digital marketers. And these trends very much align with the skills that the World Economic Forum is saying is changing in most digital professions. They are, unsurprisingly, AI, data analytics, and privacy in an AI world especially. There's a lot to be said about each of these skills and trends individually, but also how they overlap with one another. As we approach 2025, the demand for AI, data analytics, and privacy compliance expertise is exploding, particularly in the world of marketing. Companies are increasingly looking for professionals who can implement AI-powered tools and ensure data privacy compliance while driving business results. Let's look at a few key stats and explain that can explain why marketers need to focus on these 3 skills for 2025 and beyond. I'll start with AI. The digital marketing industry is moving rapidly, as we know, towards AI-powered customer experiences. 80% of customers are more likely to buy from a brand offering personalized experiences. Let's start with a question for the panel. I guess I'll start with Barry. Can you explain how AI has become a game changer for marketers and why personalization is so critical today?
Yeah, it's obviously the hot topic right now, and I think my view is informed by having lived through the launch of the internet, the shift of mobile within my career, and I think that there's been a tendency to overestimate maybe the immediate short-term impacts and significantly underestimate the long-term effects. And for me, I think that there's lots of things that are happening in terms of efficiency and kind of making it easier for us to do our job, I guess. But that's not really game changing. To me, one of the things that really will shift is the way that customers expect products and services to work for them. And I had an interesting example recently, which was somebody talking about Google Maps and just querying, why on earth is this app not giving me safe walking routes when I'm asking to walk late at night? And she was really surprised that something as prevalent as Google Maps was not able to factor in that kind of personal requirement. And so customers are going to be demanding more of companies, products and services. And to me, I think that's one of the things that's going to be really fundamental in how things change.
That's fascinating and a really, really good insight. Simon, anything from your perspective there?
Yeah, I totally agree with Barry's assessment of we kind of there's been lots of sort of forecasts and doom, gloom, and excitement for AI. But historically, we've been very bad at predicting the outcome of technology. Like we thought everyone would explode if they went over the speed of sort of 30 miles an hour on trains, but yet here we are. But actually, I think one thing we should point out is that personalization and AI has been around for quite a long time, and what we're seeing is now actually the tail end of AI in that it's just become a bit more accessible to most people. So things like ChatGPT actually just made it easier for people to do. So I think there's two sets of expectations around AI. One is from business leaders. It's going to save us money, and we're starting to see some marginal gains. But I think consumers, as Barry was saying, in the age of Netflix, in the age of personalized service, if you're reaching out and engaging to people, they don't want just a sort of a blanket, hey, you are a person, here's a discount. What people want is something that's very specific to them at the right time, at the right moment. So kind of understanding things like intent and what people need, and then turning that into things that are then useful and personalized. What I think what people do. Yeah, back in 2012, I launched a brand of socks online. It was my first experience in digital marketing, and even using a very basic toolkit, Shopify, some plugins, some data from Google, I was able then to serve up personalized ads. So these things have been around for a while. I think what we're seeing now is just it's easier to access, easier to use, and therefore kind of has become a bit more widespread. So yeah, I can't see the personalization trend stopping, but I think where we end up with AI is probably not where we expect it to be now, and certainly it's not going to be everyone losing their jobs, I don't think.
No, no, I think it creates a great deal of opportunity as well to be at the forefront of the use of it. And I do recall, I may be of a similar vintage to Barry. I certainly recall the introduction of both the internet and the Microsoft Office suite for the first time, when I recall people saying that Excel will kill accountants. It didn't. And I think it's a similar analogy around AI. It's very similar to data. There's very few data entry roles now, but there's so many data analysis. It's shifted from one end to the other, and we can certainly see that with the AI track as well. However, most important that we do understand it, utilize it, leverage it to our benefit in business as well. I might go to the next slide if I can. And looking at the second trend, which is really a foundation of great AI and privacy management as well, which is data analytics. The marketer of 2025 and beyond will be expected to be able to create actionable insights from data. So I guess my question, we love a story. Can the panel share any real world example of how data analytics improved a marketing campaign's ROI? Simon or Barry? It's a race to
You
get
want
off
me to
mute.
go? I'm happy to.
Go, Barry. Yeah.
So my last full-time role was running marketing at Trinity College London, and that is not what it sounds. It's not a learning institution. It's an examination board, and one of the key products is a thing called a secure English language test. You take that test if you want a visa to this country, basically. And we were facing really aggressive competition. We were the market leader, and we were losing market share. And in particular, they were attacking us using paid search. And one of my worries was that we were just going to get into a bidding war on Google, and the winner was going to be Google, and we were just going to everyone else would lose. We're just going to lose margin. So we looked at, we weren't just looking at the search data, we were looking at a real wide set of data to inform the strategy. And it basically it's a commoditized product. The tests are heavily regulated. You have to be licensed by the Home Office to provide these tests. So you can't really differentiate in the product. You can't really differentiate in the price. So how are we going to protect our market share? And we decided that really we needed to focus on customer satisfaction and the fact that we were the market leaders in terms of volume. and that those were the differentiators. So that was the insight that the data gave us. But then we also used customer-facing data, I guess, to implement a winning strategy, because loads of companies will claim to be the biggest and the best, and we're all immune to those kind of messages, unless they're backed up with something independent and tangible. And so what we did is we focused on Trustpilot reviews. We weren't proactively collecting Trustpilot reviews. We decided to really focus on that to prove that we had a fantastic service, that we were by far the biggest, and we leveraged those reviews in all of our marketing. And crucially, within search, helped to drive much better click-throughs and therefore more efficient paid search and better performing organic search. That was, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago that we started that. And Trinity now has got over 40,000 reviews and a 4.9 rating. And the nearest competitor has got a 4.4 rating and less than 1,000. So it's just hands down, it's so easy now for people to see, okay, these are the people I need to take this test with. Everyone loves them and they're huge. So we not only got back the market share that we lost, but we actually, and we were already in the 80s, 80 percentile, we actually started gaining market share from fundamentally a data-driven strategy.
That's fascinating, and leveraging Trustpilot's SEO also assists in that regard. A very clever strategy. Simon, anything you'd like to add in relation to that, an example such as that?
Yeah. We, I mean, I think one of the most interesting applications of data and analytics in marketing is actually to sort of give you insights that perhaps in areas where you're not sure what's going on. A few years ago, I was helping launch a new data ethics accreditation program for a customer, and having had initial really strong interest in signs from the market, like everyone who we'd gone out to do market research to has said, yes, this is great, it's a great price point, but people weren't converting, or the conversions weren't at the level that we were expecting. And we did 2 things actually. We did regression analysis. So regression analysis attempts to find correlations between events to see actually what has triggered something. And what we were looking for was actually what has been the most important thing that triggered a conversion. And what we found through the regression analysis was that if someone had seen the certificate from this institution, they were 3 times more likely to convert. And so we did some obvious things. We made the certificate, we mocked up certificates, so we had some personalization. When people were interested in this course, they would get a personalized version of the certificate. This could be yours. So that sort of thing. And when people got that doubled their likelihood of conversion. And then we also did things like A/B testing. So we A/B tested landing pages with very small differences, because my hypothesis was if you made it more exclusive and the certificate feel something that was wonderful, but also that you had to ask for, not that it was gonna be automatically there for you. So actually this idea of kind of exclusivity and scarcity, which is a classic marketing tactic, that actually that would encourage people to convert. So just small things like changing call to action buttons to apply, not register, that kind of thing. So it was very much our strategy was very much, this is a great product, secure your place, and we just small tweaks. And so those small tweaks actually we effectively doubled the conversion rate in less than a few months. And it's just the process that in fact we teach right at LSE and the program is, if you have a hypothesis about what's going on, then find a really good tool, understand what might be working, get the data, go through that process, be a bit scientific about it. And that has genuinely helps, and it just gives you things and confidence that maybe you wouldn't have had before, right? It's much better to say the data tells us this than we think this. And so that's I think is fundamentally the value.
Spot on. The third trend that I mentioned is obviously privacy, and transparent data practices build trust and long-term customer loyalty. And the bottom statistic there is most interesting. 72% of customers would stop buying, on this screen, 72% of consumers would stop buying from a company or using a service because of privacy concerns, according to Salesforce. What do we see as some of the key challenges for marketers and marketing leaders today, particularly in integrating AI and ensuring privacy compliance, Barry?
I think it's really about striking a balance. You know, the regulatory environment is struggling to keep up with the pace of change and will obviously continue to change. But it's not just about being compliant. You know, you have to be compliant, otherwise you're going to come unstuck. But it's beyond compliance. It's figuring out how to make the opportunities from technology like AI to work for the brand without crossing the lines that lose customer trust. You know, so I think the most fundamental thing is to always prioritize trust from your customers. And we know that it takes a long time to build that, but you can break it in an instant. You know, so that's a guiding principle to, you know, am I making the right decisions? And it's worth bearing in mind that I think people implicitly understand that the more, the deeper the relationship a customer has with an organization, the more they're going to feel comfortable about you knowing about them. And they do understand that there's an exchange there. You know, if you know more about me, you can do more personalized stuff for me. But I'm not just going to tell someone from the very beginning everything about me because I don't trust them yet and I don't have that relationship. So I think understanding that fundamental exchange is really at the heart of it.
Yeah, that's a great insight. And Simon, and looking forward also, Shahana, shortly bringing you in to tie this together with the program, some of these points as well. But Simon, any considerations regarding that? Because I know you're very, very strong in this area as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of ethics and data are fundamental to what marketers need to do. You know, Cantor Worldwide's trust uh, ratings have actually sort of shown shifts towards the trust being actually trust in a brand and trust in that exchange that Barry was talking about is actually one of the second most important things that consumers think about when they're starting to work with someone, particularly if the service requires a great deal of data exchange. So, you know, things like banking, particularly, but anything to do with healthcare, anything to do with your personal lives. And I think one of the things that I would say is that actually it's very context specific. So, you know, if you're a bunch of tech bros launching a new cryptocurrency over in tech, sorry, Silicon Valley, you know, you probably don't need to worry about trust and privacy. Like it's kind of baked into the brand that things might be a bit weird. But if you're launching a service that actually does require an element of trust and exchange of very important or personal information, then that's what people expect. So that's the thing that I always say to people is that there's no such thing as a stable set of ethical principles that we should all sign up to because it changes across cultures, across contexts, and across companies. The most important thing is to actually understand what those are. So, what are the expectations? What are the values that you share with your customers? What are the expectations around that? And therefore, how should you behave? And actually, really leaning into those conversations, both internally and externally, is really helpful. And there are lots of frameworks out there. The data ethics framework, the data ethics canvas, consequence scanning toolkit. There's lots of things that can lead us through that process. And so I'd say there's no excuse now for marketers to say, well, we've just done the GDPR, so that's fine, because you can be completely compliant with regulations and still be unethical in the eyes of consumers. And so that, you know, don't just rely on regulations. And as Barry was saying, regulators find it very difficult to catch up because the pace of change is so quick in technology, whereas the regulatory pace of change is measured in years. And so we've just got the AI Regulation Act in the EU. That took 3 or 4 years to get there, and even with it really being pushed through because it's a thing happening. So don't rely on what the law tells you, rely on what your instincts tell you, and then those conversations with your business, with your team, and with the wider community, just knowing kind of what the base level has to be.
Wonder if the EU could have used AI to draft their first their first version of that to speed that 3-year process up a little bit. So on to the next slide, and going to bring in Shahana just to round this through. We've touched on some of the skills. There's more obviously, but some of the key skills every marketer needs to thrive. These trends are reshaping marketing careers. Staying competitive requires adopting AI-driven strategies, mastering analytics, and embracing privacy-first approaches. By developing expertise in AI data analytics, privacy compliance, marketers can effectively navigate the complexities of the digital landscape, delivering personalised and sometimes hyper-personalised experiences and content, and compliant experiences that drive engagement and loyalty. Shahana, I guess, what's unique about the Career Accelerator and the approach to teaching these skills from your perspective?
That's a great question. And as a disclaimer, I am a bit under the weather today, so do bear with me. But yeah, no, in regards to the Career Accelerator, I think what makes us quite unique is that we are 6 months. So we are a bit longer than other programs or other courses out there, which means that we provide a lot of dedication and attention to really understanding this industry better, such as like looking at the data analytics side, looking at the strategic side as well, looking at the AI aspect. This program is in direct collaboration with the industry. So the 6 months that we provide will really help you as a learner immerse yourself, be it you come from a marketing background or you come from a different background or you're a career starter. We are really personalized to really help you understand this, this space, and to become really fluent with the skills needed to really excel and progress moving forward with your personalized career goals. I think that's what makes us so unique, is the length of our program and the level of support that we provide as a course. I hope that was helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is. And also with the likes of Simon and others, and even in the conception of this program, engaging with industry to understand exactly what industry need, and linking that obviously with the academic underpinnings that LSE are globally recognised for, enables that bridging of the gap, but the practical approach to learning. I'm going to pop a poll up now, if I can, Sam. For the audience, what skill or which skill do you think is most important for the future of your marketing career? Is it AI, data analytics, or privacy compliance? We'd love to get that. And just a reminder for anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A function, pop your questions in there, and we're going to get to those along the way as well. So you'll see the poll has popped up, and just pop your answer in there. And then on to the next slide, if we can, Sam. As mentioned earlier, we do enable and empower and accelerate the careers of those looking to commence, those looking to change, and those looking to advance. So essential skills at each stage, I guess, the technical proficiency, understanding of AI applications in marketing, competence in data analytics tools and methodologies. And I think it's also that presentation of data and conversion to business impact is critical as well. Regulatory knowledge, and sometimes in the connected world in which we are forever now, that cross border regulatory knowledge is becoming more and more important as well. Familiarity with data privacy and laws such as GDPR and CCPA, and strategic thinking, the ability to align AI and analytics with business objectives, as I touched on a moment ago. For the panel, what advice would you give to a mid-level marketer looking to step into a leadership role in the age of AI and analytics? I might continue the trend if it's okay. Actually, Simon's off microphone first. Go, Simon.
Sorry, can you rephrase the question, because I was so quick on the.
Yeah, certainly.
What advice would so yeah, so I think one of the great things about being in the industry now is that A, you've got opportunities to specialize, and B, there's really wonderful and actually accessible toolkit now as well. And there's stuff that you would have available to you that I wish I'd had access to even like 5 or 6 years ago. So in this, what we try and encourage people to think about is just being a really careful selector and curator of the tools. And I think that's the thing, is to really appreciate the challenges that you've got as a business, the kinds of tools that can maybe help you do that, but also the limitations of those tools. And I think that's one of the things that's really good about the program that we deliver at the LSE. It's that, yes, there's lots of different options there, but get really skillful at knowing when is the right time to maybe lean into a specific channel or a specific analytic approach or a specific framework. So I think it's really appreciating what the art of the possible, but then executing it in a scientific way. So it's kind of, I think at that level, you've got to move beyond sort of just basic accepting tasks and then doing them into more being part of shaping how that task should be delivered, and then trying to add a bit more value. So I think, and then obviously starting to think a bit more strategically as well. So what's the impact of what I'm doing? How could we enhance it? How can we optimize it? Is this really delivering what we're supposed to do? And so it's kind of moving beyond the kind of the delivery thought process to how do I actually enhance and optimize what we and the team and the business are doing.
Perfect. Thank you. That's interesting. I might jump on to the next question. Shahana, from your conversations with prospective learners, what are the most common aspirations or challenges they face when planning their career progression in this landscape?
I would say the most common, barrier might be time. So it's 6 months. It's longer than maybe the average case. It's not long as a master's program, which is great. It's 6 months, so it's like the perfect time. But they do say, the recommended hours, 16 to 20 hours a week. But there is a huge level of flexibility in that you can log in any time. There aren't any fixed hours, which is what's so excellent about our program. And the 16 to 20 hours that you'll dedicate, it will depend on the week. One week might be 16, another might be 18. But if a week gets really busy, just let your student success manager know and they can help allocate the hours that are good for you. So I would say time would be the most common factor that concerns learners a little bit. But when I do explain the program in a lot more depth and detail, it is a bit more reassuring to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. On to the next slide, but I'll stay with you, Shahana, for a moment.
Yeah.
Many mid-career marketers often get that thought, and some of the comments earlier highlighted this from senior marketers as well. They feel that they sometimes lack those required skills to take that next step or secure their roles moving forward. How does this program prepare them to lead with data and AI?
That's actually a really great question. So this program focuses on strategy and data analytics that will be covered in course 1 and in course 2. Then we have a third course that looks at leadership. So how to be a leader in this ever-changing space, how to effectively run a team successfully and campaign successfully to achieve business results. Course 3 will be very dedicated to how to be a leader and how to really emerge your skills that you've learned to really push it forward, essentially. So course 3 will really help with that. And what's great about course 3 is that you will have your own creative project to create. You could do it on anything you'd want to, create it on. And that will really help with your skills of leadership. So any worries that, a mid-marketer might feel, course 3 would really, build their confidence on that, if that makes sense. So it definitely does really help. And then also we have like the AI masterclasses where you'll be speaking to industry experts. So you'll have interactions with them and discussions. So it's just great interactions to really learning those leadership roles as well.
Excellent. We're getting some great questions through. Just a reminder for everyone to pop the questions in the Q&A function if you can. And there will be, there is already some assets that we'll encourage and come back to in in the chat function that Sam's kindly put in there. I'm going to, before we get to the audience questions as well, just re-engage with Simon and Barry for an exploration around practical strategies that people at different stages of their marketing career can take to advance their roles. And I guess we're focusing on that mid and senior role. Barry, any thoughts or strategies people can employ as aside, well, not aside from continuous learning, that's obviously potentially part of it.
Yeah, I think that a program like this, it delivers a lot of fantastic experience in developing skills, techniques, approaches, strategies, all of these kinds of things. But it's not just the practical hands-on skills that's transformational. I think it's the way that you approach and think about things. That's the fundamental. It's the principles that sit behind the tools, I think, that are so powerful, and they are evergreen. Those kind of principles. And I mean, just as an example, I think being data driven, is a powerful principle, which manifests in many different ways. And if you have the exposure to data-driven decision making in powerful ways through something like this program or through whatever you're doing in your work day, you're able to apply those principles going forward in creative and different ways. And I sometimes joke to people, and it kind of echoes what Simon was saying earlier. I kind of joke to people that I think marketers should go to work and put a lab coat on, because a lot of what we're doing is we're thinking about problems and we're coming up with basically hypotheses to how to solve those problems. There's no guarantee that what you try is going to work. But if you've got that mindset of I'm doing experiments here and I'm trying to find the answer through data, that really fundamentally changes your approach to marketing, So it's that kind of, I don't know, epiphany that you can have that's so important. And then the more practical things for career development, I think what organizations are interested in is outcomes. It's not really the techniques, and a lot of the time they're not interested, or they won't understand necessarily what you're doing. They won't get into the detail. What they're interested in is the outcome. So, focus on being able to demonstrate that you've achieved great business outcomes. Obviously, data can help you to prove that, so that's also helpful. And I think for people that are feeling that they've got, I don't know, a lack of experience or whatever, what we used to look for when I was recruiting in the early days of kind of .com, lots of people didn't want to work in that environment. They thought it was too risky. So we couldn't recruit for experience. And oftentimes the experience just didn't exist because everything was new, So anyone that's got deep experience in these areas is going to be in high demand. So what do you look for if you're recruiting when you can't recruit on experience? You look for capability and passion. If you're really, really passionate about something and you can communicate that, and you clearly have the fundamental abilities, then that makes up for a lack of experience, So I think, those things are the things that you really want to communicate, and be mindful of developing evidence that you've done stuff and it's worked, because that's really what people care about. Is this person going to be able to help me achieve my goals?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Evidence in the form of portfolios and demonstrated outcomes and the like. You touched on something there that takes me back a little while. When you say some of those skills are evergreen, you're exactly right. And it made me think, and I've mentioned this in a webinar before, but when I had different color hair many, many, many years ago, the first day on my first job in a 5-star hotel was to learn about customer service. And it was at the best hotel in Australia at the time. And it was pre-internet, but if you were a guest at that particular hotel and you called room service for an extra bottle of Coke or housekeeping for an extra pillow. The mainframe database had that stored, and the next time you checked into that hotel, there was an extra pillow on the bed and an extra bottle of Coke in the room, in the fridge. How, that developed day one, my passion for data-driven customer excellence and experience. But from a marketing perspective, how many people do you feel back then also told other people of their experience in a hotel such as that? That was so powerful at the time, using data to drive customer excellence. And Shahana knows how much I value that in our team here at Fourth Rev. Simon, any other comments on practical strategies people can employ to advance their roles?
I couldn't agree more with connecting your career to passion and purpose.
Mm.
I often talk about the Japanese concept of ikigai, which is this idea of ikigai literally means good life. And it's a great framework. It's one I'd really recommend people look at because it helps you understand what you can give to the world, what you care about, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for. And in that intersection is supposedly your career. And so I think that always, I would totally agree. When I was recruiting in the agency, I really just, that's the without seeing someone's passion for what they were doing, whatever level they're at, if I didn't see that, if I didn't get a feel for it, then for me, that wasn't someone that I wanted to work with. And I think to do that, if you're not in this industry, is quite difficult, but there are ways you can find out, like, is this a place where I can really thrive? Are these the kind of people I want to spend my time with? And what do these people talk about? So going to meetups, going to events, going to free sessions, event sessions like this, get a feel for, is the sorts of, even if I don't understand everything, is this the sort of thing I want to learn more about? And so I think reading the great writers about marketing and digital marketing, so people like Seth Godin, people like that, really engaging with it, that should help you appreciate whether actually this is something that's going to excite you. Because if it excites you, then that passion will show through in your career. And then I think the other thing is just getting hands-on, just having a go, because that trumps everything, right? Is if you can actually practically try, and if you've got access to ChatGPT, you can start to do analytics, you can do stats, you can, there's lots that you can start to play with. And so I think kind of taking a step, going to conferences, chatting to people, finding your tribe within this bigger tribe of digital marketing, all those things are really important. But if you don't have experience, you do have experience from another domain. And actually all the research shows that good analytics is much better when it's backed up by someone that really knows an area they're talking about. And so, connecting those things together, I think, is really important.
You're exactly right. I'm just going to jump on to the next slide. I'm conscious of time as well. We've got a bit more to get through and we've got some questions to get through, but very, very quickly, because I'm going to tie this into one of the questions from the audience. Someone's asked here, can you tell me more about the practical experience I'd gain as part of the program? I see it promises real projects and uses real experience on my CV. What are those projects exactly? Shahana, are you able to give an overview of what that looks like? And we might jump to the next slide to look at some of that as well.
No, thanks, Daniel. So when you mean the projects, do you mean the final employer projects or the projects for 1, 2, and 3?
I think we touch on the employer project as a focus here.
Oh, okay. So the final employer project is actually a great opportunity to leverage everything that you've learned in the 3 courses on a more real life hands-on experience. So, big businesses will come forward with genuine business problems that they are going through, and they will present it to you and your fellow learners. So you'll work in small groups. So this is an excellent opportunity to learn to work together with people from different backgrounds. And so you'll be working with these big businesses, campaigns, could be working with their data, client business situations that they are going through. Is going to be an excellent opportunity to really implement what you've learned, and provide solutions as the business has proposed. You're going to make mistakes as well, which is the best way to learn. So it's a real excellent opportunity to leverage what you've learned and really make the most of the skills that you've developed throughout the course of the program. So it's a real excellent opportunity. Moving forward, like with our LSE Career Accelerators in the past, we worked with Pure Gym, Bank of England, ThoughtWorks, Sumo. So a wide range of different like organizations come to work with us. So it's a real great opportunity to really learn and thrive.
And for those looking to make the change, and one of the questions from the audience is, what advice would you give someone who is feeling stuck in their current role and considering a career in digital marketing? It does provide that genuine experience, also that enables that passion to shine through, that both Barry and Simon mentioned also. But it is, I think, critical to find not only that passion as the audience member is feeling stuck, but to couple that with not only the learning outcomes that something like this can provide that are so relevant through being designed with industry, but the practical experience. So as Shahana touched on briefly, there's no exams in the program. Instead, you're empowered to build a portfolio through the submission of projects. Is that right, Shahana?
Yes. So the practical projects that you'll be doing throughout the program will allow you to leverage the skills that you've learned. We feel like exams are not very helpful when it comes to learning new information, and the projects have been quite helpful in that regard. So we have project 1, 2, and 3. The first 2 projects are actually based on real life organizations, but presented as fictional scenarios. So what you'll be doing is quite hands-on. And then the third project, which is related to leadership, it will be a bit more creative. So you can do it on whatever project that you want to, create it on, as I mentioned earlier in this session. So once you completed the projects and the final pro project, this will be part of your digital portfolio that you can really showcase to upcoming businesses and employers when you are applying for new roles, or just to strengthen your credentials as a marketing professional. This portfolio will really showcase your skills, talent, and capabilities in understanding this new market. So that's the value of the LSE digital portfolio that you'll be, creating in the process of doing this program, that will really be valuable to not just the digital marketing industry, but the industry in general. Because I'm sure you would all agree, with any business to profit and, thrive, you need digital marketing skills. So
Exactly.
I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple of questions for the panel. We've got some more questions from the audience as well, which I might touch on as well. Will I be able to balance the program's workload with my existing job and personal responsibilities? Shahana, yes is the answer.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to like timings, because timing is one of the main concerns of many learners I speak to, there is flexible in that you can log in anytime you want during the week, whatever is good for you in your schedule. And once you prioritize, career acceleration or career change, those hours that you put forward will be worth it, because you're investing to your future, So when you find that time, it's very easy to find time to do gym throughout the week, or, go out to have drinks with your friends or whatnot. When you put that time and set it aside, it won't feel as overwhelming, if that makes sense. So definitely it's very flexible in that you can find that time. And you'll also have that support within the program as well to help you set aside the hours to really immerse yourself in this industry.
Yeah.
So I hope that was helpful.
So can I
Absolutely.
add to that?
Please.
So my experience of actually working with learners on this program is that I think people go through a little bit of kind of the first weeks, a bit of kind of getting used to the rhythm of the program and fitting things in. But we're now in the second course, where we're really focusing on data, and the people have just settled into a rhythm of knowing when they need to do stuff by, and it feels a lot easier. And I've got people that are working full time. I've got people that are studying other things. So there's quite a wide, there are people that are really sort of, have got big jobs and big responsibilities and still managing to do really well actually on the program.
That's fantastic. Thanks for providing that insight. So as Simon says, that's demonstration that you can definitely fit this program in. It's designed for busy people like yourself.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's not a full-time program. It's part-time.
Exactly. That's most important. It's designed to fit in with the learner rather than the learner fit in with university as well. Someone's asked, can the employer project be done for a company where I am working? What would they that they would be paying for my course. In short, no, a lot of the learning can be applied through the projects that you do throughout the program, and the learning outcomes obviously applied to your workplace. The industry projects that we design with industry also have to meet the LSE academic requirements. So you're grouped together with 5 or 6 other high caliber learners, and then you meet with one of our industry partners who present to you that challenge that they're asking you to solve through applying the skills learnt in those 3 courses prior. So in the next question, I was thinking that a digital marketing career accelerator was for me, but now I'm wondering whether I should do a data one. Which one is more suited for whom? We've touched on a number of points with that, and the reason we've developed this program, particularly strategy and analytics in digital marketing, is different to different other marketing programs that will teach you other marketing skills. This was a skill set that is required and is in a shortage in industry, especially. So it does combine the best of both in that regard. So the best thing that you can do is click on the link in the chat and book a time with Shahana to discuss. Simon.
Yeah, I can also say so. So my background is in data and analytics, and we've just, as a group, completed the data and analytics module, and it's very comprehensive, and as comprehensive as probably you need it to be for digital marketers. So if you don't have experience of data and analytics over the 6-week course, we take you very quickly through kind of the initial elements of data literacy and then some of the key statistical tools that you need to apply. So for people that want that technical depth, actually there's the opportunity to kind of go there. And so yes, and actually you can go through the module and go really deep into it if you want to as well. So there's lots of options to kind of really go further into it should you wish to, because we give lots of resources and case studies and data for you to play with. What we're not expecting for people is to, to be able to program a machine learning algorithm, but we are expecting people to appreciate how you can apply a machine learning algorithm to a specific data set, and get insights. And so actually kind of I believe this to be sufficient for most digital marketing use cases, given that you probably will be working with data specialists, internal and external, to work on it.
Couple more minutes to go. Thank you. We do want to just touch on the next slide, actually, because it is an important inclusion in the program as to how the program enables AI understanding. So, Shahana, are you able to talk us through this one as to the AI learning track?
Yeah, so we've developed this AI learning track to reflect on what is happening in the current industry and what's going to happen in the future as well. So it'll be 4 led, masterclasses hosted by digital marketing experts in the industry, and it will be spaced out throughout the 6 months, providing their expertise and insights into generative AI, for example, ChatGPT, and really understanding these real life case studies, essentially. During these live sessions, there will be like a live Q&A after, where you can really discuss and immerse yourself in the conversation and really have a better understanding in depth of what is happening now and what's to come. So learning to essentially build the AI skills needed in the workplace and study the AI ethics, and earn a digital badge to showcase your AI literacy. I think these sessions, these masterclass sessions, will be an excellent opportunity for you to really leverage what you've learned, especially when moving forward in progression of your career.
Good on you.
So,
The pace of change. Good on you, Shahana. The pace of change. Someone much wiser than me said this. The pace of change has never been this fast. It may never be this slow again. The live element ensures complete relevancy and up-to-date currency relating to that, rather than content that may be out of date rather quickly. How long have we got? We've got 5 minutes. I guess, Shahana, we've got a special couple of things to inform the audience of. One is which is another webinar, and one is an application incentive.
Yes, thanks, Daniel. So yes, we do have a live AMA coming up on the 10th of December. So mark that in your calendars, where I'll be speaking with a recent graduate, Mohammed Hakim, and discussing his experiences with the Career Accelerator and how he's really thrived with the program when it comes to his professional career. So please tune in, guys, for the 10th. It'll be at 12 p.m. and I look forward to seeing a lot of you there. So, yes.
Next slide, if we could, to enable people to understand, before I get to one or two of the last questions and wrap it up, how learners can, I guess, obtain even more value from the program by committing to their 2025 goals early. Sam, if you can go to the next.
Yes, so thanks, Daniel. So we have an early enrollment offer with our Head Start package. So if you pay your deposit by the 16th of December, what you will unlock is 6 months of additional career coaching even after you complete the program, and there are no extra costs involved. You'll have the live industry mentorship workshops that will be running as well. You'll have incentive to that. You'll gain early access to the exclusive alumni network, such as Mohammed Makeem, Sophia Steffi, which will be really exciting. And we have a really exciting offer going with our financial plans that if you can apply sooner and make that deposit sooner by the 16th, you will be able to benefit from a £475 discount from the total cost. So that would be £5,825 that you can also pay over a 6-month installment plan. And that's an incentive that we're keeping by the 16th. So it's good if we book a time with myself and we can have that better discussion there.
Good on you. And that's a great incentive. Those payment plans are interest free and fee free. Simon and Barry, actually, Simon, I've just got a couple of things. Someone's asked, does this program help us find a job after? Yes, Shahana's just outlined the career coaching, the one-on-one executive style career coaching that is a part of the Career Accelerator. But I guess, Simon, as well, I'm going to combine these three questions together. What channels does the course focus on primarily? What software? And is the course applicable for an e-commerce company?
So I'll take the first one, yes. So the last one first, yes, it is. Actually got a couple of people from e-commerce businesses who are on the course at the moment, one Spanish business and one German business. And I think one of the other students is consulting or trying to get into other e-commerce business. In terms of channels, we look at the whole thing, right? So, but our starting point is strategy. What are you trying to achieve? Who do you need to engage with for that? And therefore, where are they? So we look at everything: TikTok, Reddit, the whole shebang, even physical, what perhaps digital marketers would call old-fashioned display, but is still actually really relevant and really important. So we look at everything and we help you decide what the best place to do it. And to do that, we do touch on tech. So although we don't mandate specific technologies, we do on some sessions, and I've run some extra sessions to look at specific elements of how you can implement privacy policies in CRMs, and we've looked at other tools as well. So yes, we suggest tools, but we don't mandate tools either, because that is we don't say you have to use a specific CRM or a specific analytics approach. Sorry, analytics bit of software. We make suggestions, and really it's about, as I said earlier, helping you understand how to choose the appropriate tool for the task in hand, and then how to use it effectively and ethically.
Strategy and leadership. I love it. Exactly. It is time for me to say a very big thank you and an apology to Barry as well. I was hoping we'd get to hear a tune. We have run out of time. I'd like to thank Barry. Firstly, your insights were amazing. Simon, thank you ever so kindly as well. There's a final poll for the audience before I say thank you to Shahana and Sam as well. What is everyone's biggest concern about joining? Is it time commitment, financial cost, uncertain career impact, or the right experience? We use that to support you further. It has been a great pleasure, I think, for the audience also to have access to Simon Barry's expertise, and Shahana's passion has been amazing. I encourage everyone now to take the next step, and the next step to consider your options further, but also to book a time with Shahana to discuss your individual circumstances. She'll have a very empathetic approach, as I said earlier, to your life decision that is so important to us. And we certainly look forward to welcoming supporting and celebrating your career success. Barry, Michael, Simon, Barry, Simon, Shahana, and Sam, sorry, in the background, who's assisting with all of our events. Thank you ever so kindly for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you,
Good to see
everyone.
you.
Thank you.